that accent. I'm trying to figure out where you're from.
I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Alright, so the current time is 4:27 p.m. I'm gonna see the FNaF movie with a bunch of friends at around like 6 o'clock, and I'm wearing a suit for it. So, wonder how this'll go. I seriously don't even know what to say. So back in April, I made a video detailing what I expected to see from the upcoming Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And considering that video did alright, why not follow it up with a quote-unquote part 2, if you will, answering the questions I had about the movie at the time. And boy, whew, was I surprised. Now, to me, I feel like it's near impossible to properly talk about this movie without spoilers here and there, so please click off this video if you don't want the movie spoiled for you, okay? I'm leaving Dawko and Johnny Blocks to take care of that.
Mom, get out of my room!
I would also like to shout out Tyler Land and EvanTubeHD for their reviews and inspiring me to make this one. In my original video, I mentioned that I pretty much was tired of seeing a certain common horror trope, that being a small group of characters breaking into or scoping out a place, thinking it's not scary when, ha ha ha, shit hits the fan. The certain characters that do this in the movie really don't add anything too important to the story, other than to show how brutal and bloodthirsty the animatronics can be. But I don't think this entire scene is bad or pointless. There were a couple kills that I was pretty surprised by, despite the limitations of the PG-13 rating, which I'll get to later. Not gonna lie, I was impressed to find the acting pretty consistent. I found Abby nice and sweet, and Matthew Lillard's William Afton,
are you challenging me?
nice and sweet. But it's mainly the main character, Mike Schmidt, played by the funny Hunger Games guy who knocks it out of the park in that role. See, a huge part of the plot revolves around Mike having the same dream over and over about the time his brother was kidnapped. And through this, he tries to find new clues to help him find out who nabbed him. Not only that, but the element of Mike sharing his love for a state like Nebraska is also a neat touch. The other security guard, Vanessa, on the other hand, is alright, but also kind of a know-it-all. Her character, at least to me, is not the most consistent or enjoyable. Not gonna lie, it was tough for me to completely wrap my head around how to describe her character until I heard Critical dubbed her as the FNaF Wiki of the film, aka one of those characters in almost every other movie that'll explain the plot or backstory. Not a favorite of mine. I personally would have been more alright if Mike were to find out for himself, like accidentally stumbling across old missing children's reports and then question someone like Vanessa as an example.
Excuse me, what the actual fuck are you doing in my house?
Any memes? Nope.
Watch your calories.
Don't you tell me how many calories I need, bitch!
Something that's been talked about more than IHOP's rebranding is popular YouTubers being in the FNaF movie. While it's not a bad idea from the start, I and many others feel like it would break the immersion of the film. Of course, no offense to these talented creators, but for me, it would be hard to take some of them seriously because of their usual internet personas.
What do you mean they hit the second tower?
It's different with Breaking Bad and its memes.
Why are you blue?
We did have a cameo from Corey Kenshin, and yes, not Reviewbra, but MatPat. Yes, the MatPat.
Poppy Playtime is the unofficial sequel to Breaking Bad.
I think it works because he's not a main character. I'll admit, the way the backstory was presented was a tough pill to swallow. I'm someone who doesn't really want the entire backstory of a plot to be flat out explained, whether that's in a movie or a TV show. Especially if it comes from only one character. Like I said before, I would still like if the backstory of the children's murders were foreshadowed by newspapers, reports, or hell, even hacked minigames. However, the element of drawings in the film is what I call pretty unique. This does give the animatronics themselves some character development in terms of emotion just by looking at a specific drawing. I like that. One thing that Critical mentioned in his moist meter for the film that I never even thought about until now was the fact that there were barely even any jump scares coming from the animatronics specifically. Yep. Looking back at this, I question this mainly because, the way I see it, FNaF often benefits from its jump scares, and I think it's a bit odd that they are not present in the film. I know that most jump scares in horror movies nowadays are used in a very cheap way, but FNaF, jump scares have become such a staple in the series, for better or for worse. But given the fact that the movie does not rely on the animatronics going up to the camera and doing the funny ooga booga that you'd see in, like, Spooky Month or Five Nights in Anime, it feels a bit unusual to me.
Jesse!
So that's the end. Now, despite all the critiques I spat out like a rabid dog, I still had a fun time with this film. I know that there are several people that would expect this film to be pitch perfect even after 7-ish years of development hell, and especially if Scott Cawthon, the original creator, was involved. I understand that, but let me ask this. Is it still possible to make the perfect movie anymore? I ask this because film companies, and especially Hollywood, God forbid, have marketed certain stuff and common tropes that they think would fit well with today's audience. And because of the strikes, I have no clue if it will stop anytime soon. I know this film was made with the fanbase in mind, and seeing a couple reviews from folks who are not deep into the FNaF fanbase probably won't get the very funny Pat-Mat reference in the Pulp Fiction diner. To me, this film does not do the best job at introducing people to Five Nights at Freddy's for the first time. And again, about what I mentioned earlier supporting this, there is still heart put into this. Hello, editing Jagger here. I did record an outro for this video, but I'm not going with it because the audio was bad. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. This outro is completely unscripted, and this may or may not be the last film review I will be doing, because I have a lot of other ideas for other film reviews that I would like to do in the future, but that all depends if you all keep watching. I know I'm completely late to uploading, this because, the movie came out on the 27th and all that, and this should be uploaded before at least November 20th. But yeah, if the audio is bad, I'm sorry.